Hey everybody, what's happening? It's holiday season. Actually, it turns out over the next 2 months, there are like 29 major holidays that are celebrated around the world. So lots of people right now are buying gifts and doing holiday shopping, and we just want to provide some information for you in case you've got someone in your life that you buy a gift for who is a string player, or better yet, an electric string player. So let's get shopping, right? If you've got a violinist in your life, and these are not necessarily even things that we sell here, but just some gift ideas under $100. Strings, violinists are always needing strings. Strings can be expensive, and it's one of those things that, like, when you're a violinist, you're like, oh man, I sort of dread spending between $30 and $100 on a set of strings. If there's a violinist in your life, maybe peek in their case or something. You can see if they've got some spare strings in there. Or find out what kind of strings they use. That would be a great stocking stuffer, just a set of strings for their instrument. Always much appreciated, believe me, as a violinist. We do sell strings here, so if you find out that your loved one uses D'Addario strings or Tomastic strings or Vision strings, whatever, you can call us, and it's pretty common that we've got that type of string. Rosin is always a great gift. There are different kinds of rosin out there. We like magic rosin. We also like leatherwood rosin. That can be a little more expensive, but yeah, fantastic stuff. Sheet music. We don't carry a lot of sheet music here, but there's some really, really cool stuff. If you're like us and you like extended range violinists, there are some really fantastic pieces of music out there for extended range violin if you wanted to look for those. And it might be cool if you've got a 5 or 6 string violinist that you're buying for that, hey man, here's a piece of music that was written for 5 or 6 string violin. Maybe cool, right? You can always get a music related shirt. Of course, we've got our Rockstar Violinist podcast shirts that are available. And of course, the gift that you know is always going to fit is a gift card. So you can holler at us, and basically what we'll do is we'll create a custom discount code for the person you're buying for. And then they've got that code loaded up with some money. When they come shop here, they're going to get a discount from you. Hey, how awesome is that? If you are buying for an amplified violinist or a person who wants to amplify, there are some gift ideas under $100. We do have a couple of pickups for violins that are right at $100. I think $99 is the Cremona pickup. Violinists or electric players can always use cables. We've got a number of different kinds of cables here. We do have a number of pedals that are under $100. Of course, you always want to sort of check with the player to see, hey, do you need a distortion pedal? Because there's a really cool one at Electric Violin Shop for under $100. We do have an EVS brand bow that we sell, a violin bow. It's a carbon composite bow. And then there's also stuff like power supplies and just things that electric players always need. So that's a number of gift ideas under $100. Got a little bit bigger budget and you want to go up to, say, around $500, we've got some smaller amps that start around $155, but there are a number of amps under $500. One really popular one is this Fishman Loudbox Mini. That's going to be, $300 and some for that type of amp. A really amazing gift is geared pegs for an instrument. You can actually have those installed, and instead of being the old kind of, press and grind and cuss at the violin kind of pegs. These geared pegs, they look like regular pegs, and they can be installed in just about any violin. And they just turn right in there. And there's a planetary gear inside there. We've got a YouTube video about it. They're roughly $200, depending on whether you've got a 4-string or a 5-string. So that might be a great gift. You can get a nice case if your violinist friend has been kind of struggling along with this old boring case for a long time. We've got some pretty nice cases that you can get that in a bunch of different colors. This one's red and gray. It's got a really nice fitted thing in here for your violin. It's got a case blanket to keep it warm in the winter. So that might be something to think about. That's about a $280 case. Got a number of cases in that $240 to $280 range. There's a pedal, a really, really common pedal. It's a Multi-Effects, M-E, Multi-Effects 80 made by Boss. It is one of the more popular multi-effects pedals out there. If your electric violinist, violist, cellist friend wants to start exploring some cool effects, it's about $300. There is a microphone called the iSolo mic. It's a wireless microphone that you just stick on the violin and it wirelessly throws to a pedal. We have a number of violin teachers who use those for their kids when they're doing a recital, because you just very quickly move it from instrument to instrument. And then grandma can hear Junior playing the violin in the front, because usually little kids can't really generate a whole lot of power with their violin. And if there's a lot of people there for a recital, or if you're doing these things virtually, then it might be nice to have a microphone that you can stick right on the violin of each kid. Good thinking, huh? So if you got a friend who's a violin teacher, the Kodabow Diamond NX is a fantastic bow. I sort of feel like it's maybe the best bang for the buck bow that we carry. They're $387 before the discount that I'll tell you about in a minute. And then there's a really cool product for those of you who want to do wireless headphone practice. This is the Waza Air headphone. And those, because Bluetooth doesn't work for live music, there's too much latency in it. This is actually using an RF transmitter, goes straight into your headphones. You can control effects and stuff with a free app on your phone. Is a really, really cool gift for an electric string player. If they just want to be able to practice silently, and it can sound like a huge concert hall in their head. It's got stereo effects and everything in it. And then nobody in the house needs to hear it. You just shut a door, nobody can hear them, but they're like rocking out in their head. They're going to love you forever. It's going to be amazing. All right. If you want to go a little bigger and you're saying, hey, I've got a person in my life who's a violinist and I think they would like to get into electric violin, we can look at either a full rig, which is going to be an instrument, a bow, effects, amp, all that kind of stuff, or a partial rig. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Some people already have some amps in the house. We're like, well, I got a son who plays guitar and I don't know, my daughter is picking up an electric violin. Could she use her brother's amp? You know what? It's often worth trying. If you've got an amp in the house, it's worth trying. The worst case scenario is it doesn't sound great and you find yourself maybe for a holiday coming up down the road, you're buying another amp, right? You don't need a special bow to play electric violin. I actually recommend having one, just so you don't have one bow that gets left with the wrong instrument. You show up somewhere without a bow. But if we're trying to sort of keep the budget reasonable, you don't have to buy a special bow. You don't have to have effects. So there are some different things that you can do if you're trying to keep that budget a little tighter. Totally understand. I'm a musician. I live on a budget. I hear you, man. But if you're trying to go with a full rig, you want to get the instrument, the bow, the case, the amp, the case, the effects, the cables, all that stuff. I can't just say, well, this is the rig to buy, because every rig is different, because each need is different. You wouldn't just say, well, I just pick up a random car for this person. Well, I don't know. Do they have a big family? Do they need seats for 8 people? Do they need a pickup truck? Do they need 4-wheel drive? What do they need? Each vehicle is different. Each rig is different because every need is different. I would say at a minimum, you need an instrument and you need a way to hear that instrument. So there are some different ways to hear. We just showed you the wireless headphone thing. Some instruments come with a headphone jack already in the instrument. Some you'd have to plug it into a separate device to go with headphone practice. You could get an amplifier to be able to hear yourself, or, the way I practice is plugged into my computer at home. So you would need an interface and some computer speakers. So there are different ways to hear yourself. And these are all things that we can help you with if you've got questions, right? You're like, oh man, this is a lot of information. I feel a little overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. You can call us at the number here. You can email us at info@electricviolinshop.com. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Mornings are better because holiday season, we are packing up a lot of instruments every day to get them out the door. And sometimes in the afternoon, we're a little too busy packing instruments to spend a whole lot of time on the phone. So if you've got time to call us in the morning, that's going to be probably better. The other thing I would say, if you want to make this a surprise, that's totally a thing we can work with. Okay, so you're going to want to know a couple of things. A standard acoustic violin has 4 strings. We actually sell more 5-string violins than 4, though. So you might want to sort of figure out, hey, do I think the reason you might want a 5-string violin is A, if you're an improviser, or B, if you're a violinist who's also a violist, now you've got a violin and a viola all in one instrument. If the person you're thinking about buying for is staying pretty strictly classical and they want to stay with the literature they're already playing, 4 strings is probably the way to go. So then the question is, okay, we stick with 4 strings. Do they have an amp? Do they have a cable? If we know these types of things, then we can help you put together a package that's going to work for them, that you can surprise them with on their holiday occasion, right? We do have a 30-day return policy, but we're not idiots. We know that sometimes people are going to buy this thing. Maybe you're going to buy this on December 1st. I'm going to give this thing on December 25th, and that only gives me like 5 days in that 30-day return policy, right? So 25 of my 30 days, I don't actually have the ability to return this. But we know this. So we know that people buy gifts for people and they're not going to get it until Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. And so we're going to be reasonable about it. We would say if you could give us a call before year end and say, oh, we're not sure, we're still working on it, we can help answer some questions. And then it helps us sort of figure out, do we think this instrument's coming back? And that helps us figure out some of our accounting on the year end. It's a little inconvenient that this holiday season's at the end of the year. That's how it works, right? Everybody works on it. So we do have a 30-day return policy. Around the holiday season, we do like to work with people about that because we understand that 25 of those 30 days, it might have been wrapped up underneath a tree somewhere. And we want to be reasonable and make sure that you've got a chance to try this instrument out. And then you've got a fair shot at giving it a try and saying, hey, I think this is going to work, or I don't think it's going to work. I don't want you stuck with an instrument that you bought in good faith for somebody. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I don't actually want a 5-string violin, but now I'm stuck with it, right? We don't want that. We have a ton of information for you guys in a couple different places. Our YouTube channel, if you're like, well, yeah, I want to look at a couple different instruments, but I don't know what you have. If you go to Electric Violin Shop channel on YouTube, we have tons of reviews. I highly recommend. We've got a playlist called the Price Tier Playlist, and you can look at violins or instruments in different price tiers and say, hey, I'm willing to spend up to $2,000, and we can show you a bunch of instruments in that $1,000 to $2,000 range, and you can see, oh, yeah, I really like the look of that one. Oh, I think the person I'm buying for would not want that one. Maybe they'd want this one, right? So that's going to help you. We also have, if you would prefer seeing like a blog post over a video, if you go to electricviolinshop.com/blog, B-L-O-G, you will see our written holiday shopping guide, and it's got some different price tier categories in that too. Another piece of information, we do free shipping in the lower 48 states. We also do worldwide shipping to over 90 countries around the world. You guys are aware of what's going on in the world. You have TVs where you live. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So I would say don't wait to the last minute. Order early. There have been some supply chain issues with certain instruments. So, for example, if you want a Yamaha, now would be a good time to order a Yamaha because we're probably going to sell out. And then just be aware of shipping times. If you're in Indonesia and you ordered on the 23rd of December, it's probably not going to get to you by the 25th. Okay, so just right. All right, so if you are anywhere near Durham, North Carolina, and you're like, well, I'd love to buy an instrument for somebody, but what I really want is for them to be able to pick it out, just come in. We've got all these instruments to try from. The best way is for you to try them out, right? The wand picks the wizard, not the other way around. Harry Potter reference. Okay, so we're open by appointment only, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So give us a call or an email. We'd love to set up an appointment for you. And basically what that does is keep us from having a whole ton of people in here at a time, and then you aren't getting the attention that you deserve. You made a trip to come in here to pick out a violin, but I'm bopping forth between 5 people that are trying to pick violins. That's not fair to you. So, plus there's obviously the safety issue of having a ton of people in a small space. So, we want you to get the attention that you deserve. So that's why we're doing appointment only. So just give us a call or an email, and we'd love to set up an appointment for you. Discounts. This is the best part, right? So we want you to get the best price on something. Now, we're not like a lot of places. We can't offer 50% discounts on stuff because we're not overcharging you all year long, right? A lot of places, oh, we can get 50% discount. Yeah, that means they've been charging you too much all year. We have a couple of different discounts. One's called the bundle. So if you buy an instrument, bow, case, you buy several things together. When it asks for a discount code, you can type in bundle and it will give you a discount, an automatic discount on some of those items. There is an automatic discount right now of $10 off every 100 up to a total of $200 off. So roughly 10%, right? And then the Kotobo Diamond Series has 10% off right now. So, and then I do have to warn you guys, there are some items that will not be discounted. For example, this Viper right over here, there just aren't a lot of Vipers in the world right now. There aren't any discounts on Vipers. You can understand that, right? So, all right. That is our holiday sort of shopping guide. It's the quick version of it. If you'd like a longer stretched out version where I take questions and everything, you can look on the Electric Violin Shop Facebook page. That's going to be live on November 24th. I don't know when you're watching this, but we did the live on November 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you'd like to see a more stretched out version, take some questions, I'm going to get a little deeper into some of these things, that's available there. Always, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out some other videos here. It's been great seeing you guys, and we look forward to hearing from you as you're doing your holiday shopping.